like, wow, we've all aged. I know, and it's like, I think it's like every decade. Like, because 20 years ago, I was in Preston, Idaho, working on a film. And I remember my first day on set, and I went to base camp, and just for a wardrobe, and this guy shows up, and he's like, he's got a big fro, big glasses, and moon boots. He's like, are you Pedro? And I'm like going, what kind of movie did I say yes to? Oh, I should have done the Alamo instead. And then I turn around like, it's okay, calm down, you're gonna be all right. And I turn around, and there's this guy with these shorts and these little shoes. He's like, that's kind of nice, so you're Pedro, how's it going? You know, it's pretty sweet, but I'm like, oh my gosh, he's got braces. So, but then I looked around, I saw LaFonda and, you know, and Uncle Rico, you know, and Grandma, and I thought, like, maybe I'm a part of this rambunctious gang, and we're going to be a part of something special. So, greetings, Earthlings. Who was here yesterday? Yeah, I mean, I did. I myself, I'm a hardcore geek and a hardcore nerd. And I'm like going, well, there's Lord of the Rings, there's Twilight. I'm a vampire. Pedro, you know, so, and then next to me was Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon, and then I was going, Mel Gibson. I was like, what, Lethal Weapon? Riggs. So, you know, since I was little, just knowing the fact that I could be a part of something, part of a community that cares about art, music, film, and comic books. And I'm like, I see all of you, and I'm home.
You are too kind. And we're so glad you're part of our community. It's so fun when we get to meet a celebrity that's just like us, right? It's one of my favorite parts of this. So, you talked about it's been 20 years since this majestic movie came out. And I have to know, how many people are actually wearing this shirt today? Heck yeah.
Thanks, family.
So in the past 20 years, what is the line that you hear the most said to you from Napoleon Dynamite?
Oh my gosh. Because the movie is so quotable. Every single character has a line. I mean, you know, like you got Kip, who's one of my favorites. Is there some kind of vest I can wear? So, you know, or Napoleon, you know, get in my face, bodega. Like, there's so, you know, and Pedro with me, somebody had my phone number and she ended up losing her phone somehow. And so, and she stored my name, my number as Pedro Sanchez. So people were calling me up going, is Pedro there? And I do. Yes, he is, that's me. So, I mean, it's, and for like 20 years, you know, everywhere I go in the world, people would say, hey, vote for me or something. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Or the best one would be like, hey, now that you're president, my wildest dreams haven't come true yet. Okay. So, I will start off, I will tell you guys, all of you guys, John Heder had a premiere, so, because he's, I mean, we're all artists, and I will say that after Napoleon Dynamite, everyone's lives changed. We started to work so much more as actors, and we started to go, this is our dream, and it's actually becoming a reality. And so, I told my brother, I said, hey, listen, don't worry. I mean, if you're here, cool. If you're not, and he's probably on the plane right now going, oh, what the flip? I'm not there yet. I'll be there in spirit. So, but he will be here. In case you're wondering, you're like, where's Napoleon? Gosh, well he'll be here. Gosh. So worry not, my fine feathered friends. So
He's probably out catching a delicious bass.
he's in Preston, Idaho. He's like, oh, the bus isn't here yet.
Well, let's get started with some fan questions while we wait for our brother John.
Hi.
Yes.
So my uncle was the one who shot. My great uncle was the one who shot the cow. So do you have any?
What a way to begin. Good to know. Vegans back there like, look at you. It was acting, only acting. That was a stunt cow, by the way. Yes, go on.
My family wants to know if you have any good memories with Dale Critchlow, who was the one who shot the cow.
Lyle the farmer. I mean, he was the only actor in the film who improvised all of his lines. Yeah. It's like, because you gotta remember that this film, like every third character in the movie is actually from Preston, Idaho. So, yeah, all right. Any Prestonites here? Yeah. Big shout out to you guys. And so, like, they're like, well, who do we get Lyle the farmer? Well, let's get, someone who fits that. Let's just get Dale Critchlow and hire him. And the director said, okay, like for instance, if you've seen the movie, and for most of you guys, if you don't know, after the credits, there's a big wedding scene, right? And so he actually is giving the vows to Kip and LaFonda as he's marrying them. And so the director was like, well, what would you say to them if, as like a passing rites to getting married? And he just started to talk away, and the camera started to roll, and that was it. There's that moment when he goes, when he's shooting the cow, and he says, "They don't touch me." It really was, because they normally, when you're shooting a cow, you really don't use that kind of gun. But that's the only thing we had. We were so low budget, and so he was telling the director, this is not the kind of gun you use. And we're like, and we just kept that, and we're like, perfect, cut. God love his soul, because the rumor was, I did hear that he had been struck by lightning. Was that, I want to confirm that, was that ever true? Yeah, so, but yeah, he was the diamond in the cut for us, because he was the core of what life mattered, so. Thank you for asking the question.
So I just wanted to ask, how did this movie just affect you as an actor? Do you think it overshadowed other movies later on, or?
Well, okay, it's funny because when I'm here with, sometimes I'm with John Heder and with John Grice, who played Uncle Rico, and we become the Three Stooges on stage, and we talk about our history in filmmaking. I mean, Uncle Rico has been in Monster Squad. He was in Laszlo and Real Genius, a character actor. And John Heder, the genius, who did all of the drawings in Napoleon Dynamite, mind you, I will say. Do you know that moment, when I'm running for election as president, and you see, you hear the A-Team song, and you see those images of me riding a dragon, right? Literally, Jared Hess, he said, well, we don't have an image, and he was like, don't worry, I got your back. So, he drew that in 10 minutes, and they copied it, and they posted it everywhere, and I'm like, wow, he does have skill. He is known for his skills in magic. So, but at the time, before Napoleon Dynamite, I was working on a TV show called Even Stevens. Do you guys know of it? Yeah. And so my agent called me up at the time and they said, hey, listen, you have an audition for a big feature film. And the first film was called The Alamo, right? And it was a big studio picture and I thought, oh, okay, great. And then at the same time, they called me up and they said, hey, listen, you also have an audition for a film called Napoleon Dynamite. And at the time, I wasn't able to get a hold of the script, just pages from the script. And I thought, okay, so when I read the scene, I went, what is this? Who builds a cake? So I had no idea. And there was a moment when I thought, like, okay, I'm just gonna raid my father's closet and put on his clothes. And then I took the bus and I went to the audition. And I was doing my third scene, and it's where I'm giving my speech. And I go, well, I don't have much to say, but I hope the people, and the director goes, stop. Slower. And I thought, okay, maybe it's because I'm nervous. Okay. Well, I don't have much to say, but I hope that he'll stop. Slower. And that's when I go, does Pedro have a condition? So I go, okay. And I'm like, well, I don't have much to say, but I hope the people vote for me or something. Yeah. And I wish it was like that. And then there was a moment after I said my speech, they were all quiet. And the director said, he goes, thank you. And I went, thanks. And then I left, and I had to take the bus again, and I'm like, well, that was for nothing. But at the time, my agent called me up and they said, congratulations, look, you just booked The Alamo. But we have a problem. And I said, what's that? They go, you also booked Napoleon Dynamite. And they work at the same time. And my father at the time told me, he goes, you know what? Follow your heart. That's what I would do. And I went, wait, that's what Napoleon says to Pedro! I was like, Dad, are you auditioning too? He's like working on his mustache. And I thought, okay. So I took on this role where I'm playing a character role and a lead role, you know, along with these guys who are just trusting not only the community that they're in, but trusting the work that they do. And I learned something from that because I myself was nervous. But the fact that I was able to be on set with an actor like Jonathan Grice, who's such a brilliant character actor, who gave me great advice to trust those characters, trust the work that you do. And so that is what you see. And the only reason why I exist is because I was able to work freely with John Heder as Napoleon, Uncle Rico, John Grice, LaFauna, Kip, Tina Majorino as Deb, and Summer Wheatley, oh, my love. And so after the movie came out, there were roles that were offered to me that are quite the same character. And my manager said, we're gonna say no to this. I go, why? It's work. And he said, because you gotta prove to the studios that you can act. And I thought, okay. So I started to I did a film called Employee of the Month. Do you guys ever see that? Yeah, Employee of the Month. And at that time, I think John Heder was doing Blades of Glory. And so at that time, and after Employee of the Month, I did a film called Crank, really intense film, with Jason Statham, who's a English action star, and then I did Walkout, and then I did Casa Lane Padre, Eastbound and Down. So I started to work a lot more as an actor, and you have two choices. You could be a celebrity and just work on just on the fame, or be an artist. But to be an artist, to be able to do Shakespeare on stage, to be able to talk about Tennessee Williams, David Mamet, Clifford Odets, to work with playwrights and do theater on stage. And I started to, because those were my dreams. Believe me, look, when I was at the Sundance Film Festival, right? My first year, I was so excited because I'm like, okay, we were passing out buttons saying vote for Pedro and vote for Summer. I was like, hey, vote for me. And they're like, who is this clown? Get out of here. But then they found out about Napoleon Dynamite and they started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So the second year when I went, I met actors like Jack Nicholson, Benicio del Toro, Daniel Day-Lewis, Steve Buscemi, Catherine Keener, and you know, Catherine O'Hara, and they were all just telling me and giving me great advice about acting. We are artists. We, as human beings, we care about something that will move us so much, that makes us change the way we think, open our minds and open our hearts. And for me, if I could live and express myself through art, through stories and through characters, then I've done my job. So I appreciate every single moment in my life.
My question is, what was your favorite scene to film?
Gosh. I guess we could start off with what's my favorite scene not to film. It was the last day of my on the set where I had to shave my head. Because we shot that on, you know what film is, right? Everything's all digital now, right? So, but we shot that on film, and when I was shaving my head, I thought maybe I could give myself a mohawk like Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver. I wanted to look cool, and I was like, and the camera kept on rolling, and I thought, well, here goes nothing. So I shaved my head, and by the time we were done, I had like little wisps of hair sticking out of my head. I looked like Frankenstein's monster. And, you know, and then when I saw my agents, they were like, you shaved your head. And I went, wait a minute, didn't you guys read the script? So, but my favorite scene, golly, maybe, I don't know. Because it was just, Pedro was so apprehensive, and he always tried to lead with hope. Okay. It makes me so sad. It was that moment when, after Napoleon Dynamite does his dance, because there was no words, and it was just me reacting off of the crowd and Napoleon's dance, which I had never seen, you know. But Jared Hess was so specific, and he really knew how to color my imagination. And when he rolled the camera lens, that was that moment, because I appreciated all the things that Napoleon did for me, for Pedro. You know, and I felt that the people, the audience, understood what we were trying to do. And that was such a touching moment for me. The other scene that is my favorite scene that I'm not in is the moment when John Heder, Napoleon, and Kip, and Uncle Rico are dealing with the time machine. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a moment when he's getting shocked, and the camera cuts back to Kip, and he's like all excited about him getting hurt. Yeah. Like, what kind of family is this? You know, and to add to that, the Kip's actual brother ordered a time machine in real life, and he used his parents' PayPal account, so he could get it, and it costed about like $600 or $700, and it came with crystals and actual currency for the actual time they want to go back in time. They actually thought they were going to go back in time. Needless to say, it did not work. So a lot of the stories in the movie really did occur. You know, so to me, it's just like lightning in a bottle that every single scene is special. You know, from Kip going backwards and crushing that Tupperware, and it just, you know.
Dang it!
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen, but he was like, all right. So, or that moment we're on the bike, or that moment when we're on the bike, and I'm like, okay, so we're on the bike. You know, and Uncle Rico used to play baseball, and so...
Football.
Yeah, no, I know, but no, well, the actor used to play baseball, so, but he's really good at throwing stuff. That's just how he is. So, and there was a moment when Uncle Rico was throwing the steak, and he would hit John Heater on the leg and the shoulder, and John was like, just hit me in the face, gosh! You know, and Uncle Rico was like, all right, Napoleon. So he went to this kid, he was like, hey, I'm gonna need a bigger piece of meat. You watch this. So, and I'm like, I'm in the back of the bike and I'm going, is this really gonna happen? I'm like, oh, this movie really is independent. So there you go. All right, action. Action, Pedro. Action, sledgehammer. Action, sledgehammer. Hurry, hurry, hurry. I'm like, So, and we're riding along, and that steak was so huge. He chucked it so hard. He smacked him so hard in the face, you know, cut his nose, bruised his nose, his glasses went flying, and I was supposed to stay, you know, in the scene, but I was like, oh my God, and I was like, all I could do was go, I better go, and I gotta skip out of the scene. and then you can see John Heater's come out, like, gosh! And I was like, my gosh, this movie, it's epic! So that answers your question.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
My question is, what was your favorite memory from being on set?
I think even after 20 years, listen, we were literally at Sundance this past January for the 20th anniversary of Napoleon Dynamite, and we saw some of the cast members, some of the crew members, and it's amazing to see that even after 20 years, we are still family. We still have that connection. Even with Trevor Snar, who lives here, I believe, and Emily Dunn, Trisha, you know, I finished that shade on your upper lip. So, you know, because when we were shooting this film, all we had was each other. That was that. You know, once we were, I mean, in Preston, Idaho, when it's about 105 in the summertime, we're like, do you think it's kind of warm in here? All we had was each other. So once we were done, and I don't know if you guys have been to Preston, Idaho, but, you know, you're like, hey, so how's it going? Great, cool. We would spend time with each other, but we were doing something that meant something. And we were, at the very end of every scene, we would go, we would start quoting the lines ourselves, and we thought like, oh, that would be pretty nice if they made like little dolls of us, you know? So, you know, and then it just changed for us, for all of us. And, you know, remember, you know, for the artists out there, you guys always have to remember that Jared Hess was only 22 years old, 23 years old when he did this movie. Yeah, he took that chance, along with his friends. They were just creating and hoping that something was gonna come out. And when he shopped it around to different studios, everyone said no. So, in life, whatever you wanna be in your life, whatever you wanna do, you may hear a lot of no's, but you know what? All you need is one yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Tony, and
Hey, Tony.
we missed you at the Napoleon Dynamite Festival this past July.
Yes.
It was such a fun town. The whole downtown was so involved. The city council were volunteering, so hopefully you can make it next time. But
Yeah,
we
I was
had
doing
such a
theater at the
great
time. Actor. Yes.
My question is, I love it when I hear actors where they've actually they've included something in the movie that they kind of came up with. Is there any ad lib or something that you did just off the wall and they put it in the movie?
I wish I could say that I did, but Jared and Jerusha Hess were the creators of not only the film, I mean, but they wrote it. They wrote what they knew, because Jared grew up in Preston. He lived in Preston, I know. The lama's name is Dolly, hence the Dalai Lama. And belongs to Jared, the director's mom, and her name is Christmas. Go figure. So, but all the genius is in the writing. And I was able just to honor those characters. I mean, when Jared would give us some direction, he would play an idea of the character. Again, if you have the DVD, in the DVD you have the short film in black and white called Peluca, which means wig in Spanish. And there were two characters for Pedro. There's Pedro and his cousin named Gail. And so when my first day on set, the director showed me the short video, the short film, and he told me, he goes, you see those two characters? I want you to make them into one. And I'm like, no problem. What? But all the genius is all there in the script, and we just live through those characters. So even Starla. So yes.
So I just want to shout out Jorge from Employee of the Month. I love that movie.
Oh, dude, thanks, Home Slice.
Yeah. But I kind of have a two-part question. So what kind of things do you like to do in your downtime? Are you still doing any DJing stuff? And then also, do you have any upcoming projects you're working on that you could tell us anything about, that you're able to talk about?
There's two movies that I cannot talk about. Are we on camera? Oh yes, we are. Never mind. Yeah, we can't talk about that. Okay. For those of you, I feel like I go back into Napoleon because I just love that character so much. Flippin' sweet. So before Napoleon Dynamite, I used to do a lot of rave events in Los Angeles. I was a DJ, and that would pay for my acting classes. So, and I had a rave company, and it was great, it was fun. My older brothers were DJs, and they taught me how to mix. And so, after Napoleon Dynamite, I became much more of a celebrity DJ. And so, the club people were like, so who's DJing tonight? Pedro! What is he gonna play? Hello, here's my skills on the wheels of steel, or something. So yes, I still DJ all over the world, and it's amazing to see, because even around the world, there's so many fans of Napoleon Dynamite. A couple of years ago, I was in Europe, and I went to Europe, I went to Dubai, and I went to Africa. And when I was in Africa, they were like, "You're Pedro." I'm like, "What?" Thanks. Did you vote for me? No. So that's cool. But to answer your question, after Napoleon, I would do 2 movies a year, and that's it. And then I'll do a play, because like nothing beats the stage, because that's where the work starts. I do have a movie coming out next month, and it's called 7 Cemeteries. It stars Danny Trejo and myself. Machete. So it's an ode to the Magnificent Seven, but with dead people. So it's sort of a horror comedy, but I try to change it up. I remember, like even after Napoleon Dynamite, I told my agents, I go, now that we did this, that I need to do something completely different. And then I ended up working on a TV show called ER, where bad things happened to me, and then it was just a heavy drama. I'm like, okay. So that's the only thing I'm allowed to say. So, but nevertheless, it's funny because I started for many years, just doing stage work into theaters that sat about like, I don't know, 50 people, and I would have only 5 people as audience, you know, and like some of them were my family members. I'm like, oh great, they're gonna say boo. So, but I never thought that I'd be DJing to crowds this size and bigger, or doing theater with crowds this size or bigger. And I'm like, yeah, it became something of a reality. And I keep looking up and saying, how far can I go? You know, so for me, if I could do a movie or play characters or DJ at events that will surprise people or give them a glimpse to something new, then that's the goal and key in life, right? To explore our lifetime. We only have 100 years, right? And the question is, what do you do in those 100 years? Go enjoy it, go explore it, go discover. So, yeah.
Hi. So my question is, I want to become an actor. My most recent musical was based on Napoleon Dynamite, and I played Uncle Rico. Here's a little poster for it. And I was just wondering if you have like any advice for like me starting my acting career.
We always say we're living in the future, but the future is right now. Wait, the future is right now. Like what? Pedro was so profound. We're living in the digital age, and in the digital age, the fact that you have iPhones and the Androids, and you could shoot your own movies now on your phone. The idea is get together with other actor friends and make short movies, because that's what Steven Spielberg did when he was your age. He was making short films with his friends, and he was like experimenting, trying to figure things out. You know, mind you, is anybody from Los Angeles here? Oh, my family. So, but yeah, I grew up in East LA. I grew up in East LA. So, I grew up in East LA. You know, I live in Lincoln Heights and Boyle Heights. You know, and there weren't many people who were in the industry. I had no idea. I would watch the Brady Bunch. I would watch Little House on the Prairie, Chips, Knight Rider, right? 21 Jump Street. Anybody watch 21 Jump Street? Right? I grew up with that, and I would watch it and go, how did they do that? I want to do that. You know, and my mom and dad put my brothers and me into theater, you know, and it became something else. So when I was in high school, you know, I did plays like You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, Oklahoma, yeah, right, oh, blow, Gabriel, blow, you know, I mean, I was like a big nerd, you know, when you're a jet, all the way from the first cigarette to the last dying day. So I did that. I studied and did theater, I did plays. And I thought, like, maybe it is possible. Maybe it can be a reality. But it starts with what you're doing now. So when you guys are in your neighborhoods, get involved with church theater. Get involved with your school theater. If your school does not have a theater department, right? Create one, form one, start one. So, right, tell your stories. Again, how old are you? You're 14. Right? Jared Hess was only 22, not that far from you. But he was just like you, and I'm just like you. I am just another version of you. Yeah.
Hi there.
Hey.
I ask this question to every celebrity I meet, be it autograph or, autographs or panels. What's your favorite Christmas movie? What's your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Donnie Darko.
Better than Die Hard.
What does he done? Frank the Butt. There's a moment I was at some premiere in LA, right? And I'm like crossing the street, and I'm standing waiting for the light to change, and I turn to my left, and I'm like, oh, it's Frank the Bunny. And he looked at me and was like, oh, you're Pedro. I'm like, dude, say it. So he quoted he quoted one of the lines that he says in Donnie Darko, and we were crossing the street and I was going bananas. And then he said, say one of the lines, I go, well, I hope you vote for me or something. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is what it feels like. Okay. So, yes.
My question is, what's like the weirdest or most like unusual encounter you've had with a fan?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say. God, there's... Okay, so as I've told some of you guys, I do DJ at rave events and at clubs, and it could get a little rambunctious. If you're like, oh my God, Pedro, I'm like, ooh, gremlins. So, can't wait. So, what is the weirdest? To be very honest with you guys, there are certain things I will not sign. There are certain body parts I will not sign. You know, but there was one person who, she did have Napoleon Dynamite's face on one shoulder and Pedro on the other. And she's like, I'm such a big fan. And I'm like, yes, I know this. And she wanted us to put our character's name and our autographs on her arm so she could tattoo it. And I'm like, you're gonna have to live like that for the rest of your life. What do you want my name on it? So I tried to be modest and appreciate everyone as much as possible, as crazy as that sounds. I mean, I don't want to share some of the stalker stories. You know, okay, I'm going to share one little story. Okay, only one story, because I know I'm running out of time. So I was working on Employee of the Month, and we were shooting in Costco in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we were shooting night shoots, and when you're doing night shoots, you shoot from 8 p.m. to 8 o'clock in the morning before they would open up. And so we were so exhausted, and there was some kind of radio competition where people can do some crazy things for celebrities and whatnot. And so that morning, when I went back to my room, I opened the door and I was just exhausted. I show up and there was somebody sleeping on my bed. And I went, oh! I thought I had entered the wrong room. So I went downstairs and I talked to the manager, and the manager was like, oh yeah, well, your girlfriend, she's here and she just wanted to surprise you. And I said, cool. I didn't have a girlfriend. So I was like, what do I do? And you know, I was just so exhausted. I go, okay. And I noticed there was a big bag. I went back to the room. There was a big bag, and she had a bunch of Napoleon. She had the T-shirt, the DVD, the bobblehead, the action figure, and the plush doll. And I went, wow, she's a hardcore fan. I go, okay. I go, hi. Like the Joker. Hi, how's it going? Way to get a load of meat. And so she explained to me why she was there, and that, you know, the radio, you know, told people that if they do something really crazy, they need proof that they were and had interaction with a celebrity. So I signed all the things for her and kind of whisked her away. I go, there you go, cray. So, you know, and needless to say, you know, she was happy. So I guess that's one of my crazy stories, you know. But nevertheless, it's again amazing to see the amount of people. I was at a premiere, and I met Sir Anthony Hopkins, and he said to me, he was like, yes, you are the one who played Pedro, and he had a vote for Pedro button, and I didn't know what to say, and the first thing that popped out of my mouth was, don't eat me. So. And he gave me that look like, did he just say that? I'm like, yes, I did. So, but it's always like crazy encounters like that because of this movie, it has charged it so. I hope that answers your question.
Well, we out of time.
Can we have one more question? And then, right? It better be good.
Yeah,
Super fast.
I wondered, I love Danny Trejo, and he always seems like larger than life. Did it blow your mind that you're taller than him? And what was he like to work with?
Well, every single day I was hoping that he wouldn't chop me up. But remember, Danny Trejo has been, I don't know, he's done over like 200 movies. So for me, even as an actor, I did a movie with Matthew Lillard. I did a movie with Kellen Lutz. For me, being able to live my dream as an artist, as an actor, see Andy Serkis, and I'm like, I'm not worthy. It's like all these actors, Sean Astin, Elijah Wood, like all these wonderful actors are just telling great stories. So for me to be able to work with Danny Trejo and see what he does and to live in the moment, I am grateful and I appreciate being able to be a part of telling a story with him. Because it's like kind of getting on a pirate ship and you're like, let's see where this takes us. And working with Machete, I mean, come on. Right? Machete don't lie. So. But for all of you guys, let me ask you guys this one question. Would you like to see a sequel? So I go on tour with Napoleon and Uncle Rico, John Heater and John Grice. And we go all over the country, and even 20 years, it holds so strong. Because people are dressed as the characters. People are dressed up as a llama. There was a family of 8. Everybody was dressed up as Rex Kwando. And they're like, what? And the little 4-year-old was like, bounty your sensei. I'm like, are you gonna beat me up? I mean, everywhere and around the world, people are such big fans of this movie. It all started in Preston, Idaho. It all started here in Utah. So, I will tell you this. The world of Napoleon Dynamite has not closed yet. So we will see. We will see. We will see.
Everybody please give a huge round of applause for Efren Ramirez!
Thank you.
Hey guys, we're gonna do something right here. We're gonna take a crowd shot. Pull out your cell phones, turn on your flashlights. Now I do have a message from John Heater. His plane was delayed. He's flying here right now, but he'll be landing coming here in a few moments. But you guys, we're gonna do a crowd shot on the count of 3. You guys want you to go nuts? Efren, will have you turn around right here? Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. One more, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3.